Welcome to Costly Conversations. I'm super excited because we are doing part two of our conversation with the Ninadelaflores. And this one's just going to be a Q&A, so it's going to be real simple. If you guys have questions, go ahead and type the letter Q and colon, or even just Q. I'll try to find it, and it'll pop up for me a little easier. So go ahead, punch that stuff in there, and if you guys have questions, let us know. If not, we'll just keep chatting and chatting. Let's keep it costly. Yo, Nina Della Flores. I call you Daz. Everybody else on the internet, I guess, assumes your name is Nina. Welcome back. I feel like we
Hey,
literally talked the other day.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess for those who don't know, and welcome into the chat. If you're here, go ahead and just let me know where you are, who you are, where you're from, and I'll make sure to say hello. We're just doing the Q&A. Last time we talked, there was this crazy storm going on outside, and people said they could hear the sirens going off because there's like some, tornado sirens going off outside. And yeah, so thank you for agreeing to come back and do the Q&A, and let's get some of these questions answered. Thank you for coming back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we got a few questions. One is from Anthony. What's his last name?
My
Harlson.
Anthony Harrison.
Yeah, I think. What? Oh, look who's here in the chat right now. Actually,
Great,
Anthony.
Anthony.
What up, Anthony? Um, will you get back into competition shooting?
Absolutely, yeah. So I started shooting defensive pistol matches here. Well, it's at a range called Last Resort here in Arkansas, and I started shooting defensive pistol matches there. But then I got in my car wreck the year before last,
Yeah.
and I was still recovering. I wasn't trying to go out there with a metal rod in my leg on all that uneven ground, so I took a break from it. I really, really want to get back into it. So yes, I am going to get back into it, Anthony, and you are going to go with me when I go. So
There you go.
May, we're looking
Okay,
at May.
I'll cut you up a little bit. I noticed you're a little quiet, so let us know if the levels are good, my people, and we'll go accordingly. So you're trying to get back into it in May. So I know. Last time we talked, you did have an issue with the you had gotten into an accident last year. That was a big deal. Um, Metal rod in the leg. How are you recovering from that?
I feel fine for the most part. I still have like little issues here and there, like aches and like minor aches and stuff like that. But it's nothing major. I can walk, I can run, I can exercise. I'm probably 99% back to normal.
95%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Q. What is the most important thing you've learned as an instructor? That was from Obsidian Training Group from last time. We're going back through some of these questions. What is the most important thing you've learned as an instructor?
Um, I would say the most important thing I've learned as an instructor is that it's okay to accept feedback from my students. I know a lot of instructors, they feel like, oh, like these people that I'm teaching, they paid to learn from me, so there's nothing that they can tell me. But honestly, you need that feedback from your students, and each student is different, so you have to actually actively listen to them in order to make sure you're teaching them in a way that they can understand. So I would probably say that to always keep that open mind about learning and getting feedback from the people that I'm teaching, also, not just other instructors.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's go back. And when we get back into competition, we already hit that one. What was the transition to an instructor like going from experienced shooter to teaching other people? Would you have called yourself an experienced shooter, Des?
At the time that I started teaching,
Mm-hmm.
it depends. So, an experienced shooter in my lane, absolutely. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, like competition shooter or super tactical or anything like that. But an experienced shooter in the lane that I teach other people in, absolutely. Because I made a point to not even begin teaching other people until I felt like I had a lot of information to provide. I didn't want to be in a position where people were asking me stuff in class and I didn't know the answer, because that's kind of stupid. So I made sure I felt confident and like I knew enough before I started teaching. So the transition really wasn't that hard. My biggest challenge when I started instructing was the public speaking part because I'm really not good at public speaking at all. But the passion that I have for firearms is just transferred over, so it makes it a lot easier to stand up in front of 20, 30 people and talk about guns. So that's not something that I regularly did before I became an instructor. But yeah, that was probably the most challenging part, but it wasn't a hard transition at all.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you answered that. And it looks like the guy who asked from the last show, Jeremiah Bryant, came just in time to hear his question. That's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
Guys, for those of you who are here, go ahead and share this thing out to like your Facebook groups or like take a screenshot and drop it on Instagram. Let people know where we are because we want to take as many questions as we can before it's time for Des to go. Going to Kiwi Dog. He's actually one of the Patreon members. So special thank you to everyone who's on Patreon supporting the show, making this thing happen. None of this stuff is free, like these mics, the lights, this program that I'm using. None of it's free. So thank you to anyone who supports in that way. So Kiwi Dog said, have you gone full-time instructor or do you manage in between a job? Sorry if that's already been answered. Now, I know you did answer that before, but I guess for those who are just hopping in and maybe haven't heard, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, no. So I still have a 9 to 5 job, but I pretty much. So I was working towards getting back into instructing full time. I know I kind of answered this question the last time, but for the people who weren't there the first time, I was full time instructing for maybe a year, and then I got into a really bad car accident where I broke my arm, I cracked some ribs, broke my femur, had to have like 3 blood
Jeez.
transfusions, and I was out of work for a really long time. So I went back into corporate America in the field that I was working in, which is the banking, like financial crimes industry. So I've been doing that since February. So right now I'm balancing both. I'm working my way back to focusing on instructing full time, but honestly, because I work remotely, it's not really it's not intrusive. My 9 to 5 is not intrusive with my company, so it's not hard to balance both. If that answers the question, but right now I am still balancing both.
So you said you work in financial crimes.
Yes.
What is that even like? Like now I've got questions.
I do anti-money laundering stuff. So just pretty
Are
much
you
review.
are you a Fed?
Huh?
You a Fed?
No. I work at a bank. I don't work for like the government or anything like that. But I work at a bank, and so we do anti-money laundering stuff. Just pretty much reviewing our bank's customers and making sure they're not doing anything crazy that could ruin the bank's reputation or have us in
Right.
court, whatever the case may be. But yeah,
Right.
it's pretty cool.
Just make sure Jeffrey Epstein is not sending money to some crazy thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. We alert the FBI, but I'm not the FBI. I'm not the feds.
There you go. Well, another question that we have from the previous show, and if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Obviously, if you use Q, it makes it a little easier to find it, but I'll be able to see it regardless. Anthony asked again, what type of training are you looking forward to in the future?
Um, I am looking forward to getting back into competition shooting, which we kind of talked about earlier. So I am going to take classes with instructors who are experienced in that. Mainly Trayvon Barber, so I'm going to train with him next month. Yeah, next month in April. So I'm super excited to learn from him. But that's the type of training that I'm focusing on right now, is so I can get back into shooting those defensive pistol matches.
That is what's up. I love that. Trey is fantastic. What about Trey kind of draws you to his training?
I feel like he's super relatable for one because he's black. Like I know that's like a really silly. Well, it sounds silly to some people,
I
but
mean, it may be cliche to some people, but
yeah, it
what
sounds silly.
about what about that is important to you?
He's a black USPSA master, and I just, it's not a whole lot of them. So the fact that I have access to this person and I can learn from this person, I'm going to go support and learn from this person. He shows his work online all the time. It's not like he's sitting around claiming to be something, oh, I can do this, oh, I can do that, and not actually showing that he's capable of doing these things. The way that he teaches online, just on his platform, is really easy to understand. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to go to this person and spend money with him and like get better at what I'm trying to get better at.
That's what's up. Somebody else asked, what are your plans for 2024?
You know, I can't even honestly say that I'm thinking that far ahead right now. I have so much stuff to do in 2023 that I haven't gotten that far yet. I have from this month right now until about September, I have so many things going on that I'm not even looking at the top of 2024 yet. I'll worry about that later. I can't answer that question right
You know,
now.
2024 is kind of a while away. So let's
Yeah.
talk 2023. I know you said Essence Fest is coming up. You're working with GOA, and that's
hmm
dope. But what else is going on in 23 that you're like, yeah, this is what's happening?
So I'm also, aside from the Gun Owners of America thing, I'm also getting ready to start up my NAGA chapter here in Arkansas. So it's going to be the first and the only all women's NAGA chapter here in Central Arkansas. So
An
I'm
all
working on that.
women's NAGA chapter.
Yes.
What about the dudes?
There's another chapter here that's
There is
co-ed.
another chapter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a chapter here that's co-ed, but I wanted to have mine because I had a gun club already called
Okay.
Fab Gun Club, and it was a women's gun club. So when I had got in communication with Naga, we pretty much just joined forces and was like, okay, so your gun club can be a Naga chapter, and I'm keeping it all female because we already have a co-ed chapter here. So
That's
it's
what's
like
up.
a more special, inclusive thing for just the women.
That's what's up. So do you feel like with creating a second NAGA club, like you're basically going to be poaching away from the other club, or
Not at all, because I'm in communication with the chapter leader also, so he's super excited about it.
you know, that's good because I've actually been a part of a NAGA club before. My club used to be NAGA, now it's not, and the the issue with communication and other clubs coming, doing different things and kind of, intermingling, that stuff gets kind of messy kind of quick, even when it ought
Yeah,
not to be. It's like, we
yeah,
could just have a phone call and try to figure out what's happening. And, we're all trying to kind of accomplish the same goals. So there's no reason for us to be hostile. But real quick, guys, I see there's a few people in the watching live. Go ahead and hit like so we can get the likes up, get this thing broadcasted out to more people who are interested. And also drop a question if you have something to ask. Ninadelaflores, thank you so much for being here, Des.
no,
Those are actually all the questions that we have from the previous show,
yeah.
believe it or not. So I guess we're just gonna wait till we get some more questions in from these guys, and I still have questions myself. So
Okay.
let's talk about you creating the club. What's the name of this NAGA chapter? That's all
It's
women.
Fab Gun Club.
It's the
So the
same
same
Fab
as
Gun
my
Club.
Firearms Academy, which is Fab Firearms Academy, it's just Fab Gun Club.
Yeah, Fab Gun Club.
hmm
What does Fab stand for?
It's an acronym. The FAB, it stands for Fearless, Adept, and Brave, which are characteristics that the women who come through my training are looking forward to possessing after they get the training. So
That's
Fearless,
what's up.
Adept, and Brave. Yeah.
Fearless, adaptive, and brave.
Adept.
Adept. Excuse me.
Yeah, Fearless, Adept,
Adept.
and Brave.
What does adept mean?
Capable.
Capable.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I like that. You know what?
Thank you.
I love that. I think that's fantastic, and I think more people need to know. So we actually have 2A Gamer hopped in the chat. What's your favorite handgun? Are
Right
you allowed to
now,
say?
I don't know because I, as a whole, I really like Canon handguns. I appreciate the level of detail and the level of thought that they put into like those handguns when they sell them. The simple fact that when you purchase a Canon handgun, they come with a holster, they come with cleaning products already in the case, they come with a gun lock. They just put so much love into their packaging, and that's one thing that I really like about that manufacturer specifically. But honestly, overall, that's my favorite brand, but I think my favorite firearm right now is my 6-hour P365 XL. That's my carry gun, and I
Hmm.
switched out the grip, and I put a Wilson combat grip on there, and it's just so perfect and so easy to shoot as is. I love the sights, love the trigger, so I would say that's probably my favorite gun right now.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that you can change the components on the SIG super easily. Like you can change the grip, you can change the slide, you
Yeah.
can, obviously a lot of striker fire handguns, you can change the slide. Glock is kind of cornered the market on the amount of slides available, but being able to remove the fire control unit from the handgun and, get a Wilson combat grip or
Yeah.
another frame really is the frame. I think that's super cool. Now I know you've fallen in love with Canic, and they've actually sent something out for you to try, which is awesome because you
Mhm.
spent a lot of money on Canics without their
Yes.
encouragement, and
Right.
for them to be like, hey, we see you and we value your perspective. We'd love for you to try this out. What's that experience been like working with a brand like Century Arms Canic?
It's been really fun. I actually made that connection at SHOT Show, so I was super excited that I got to go, and that came out of it. I met Adam there, so he's like their social media manager for Century Arms and Kinnick, and we had a meeting there at SHOT Show. We talked about my platform and who I'm trying to reach, my target audience, what I do down here in Arkansas, and he was just like, I didn't even ask. He was just like, yeah, let me send you some stuff. I'm like, cool, okay. Thank you. So we got that rolling, and I'm looking forward to like collaborating with them more in the future.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have a huge audience. It would be silly for any brand to not really, see the way you create content and not like just jump on it and be like, "Hey, can we get stuff in front of you so you can get your stuff in front of the people?" Because there's a lot of people. I mean, I'm curious to kind of hear your thoughts on it, but about how much of the audience do you think is like brand new to guns, don't even own a gun, but they're interested, they're curious, maybe they might do it next month, maybe they might do it next year.
Honestly, I think the bulk of it. So I did. That's not. You can view analytics on Instagram, but
Yeah.
obviously that's not an analytic that they already provide to you. So I did a survey separately on my website, and I just got a sample size of like 100 people. And out of that 100 people who came from my social media and responded to that, like 69% of them were brand new gun owners or prospective gun owners. Like I haven't made up my mind yet. So the bulk of my audience are new gun owners. The bulk of my audience is also women. So on the analytics on Instagram, it's like 74% female.
Yeah.
Over 100,000 people, 74% female. So
That's a
my
huge
audience is
number.
definitely female new shooters for the
Yeah, I
most
mean
part.
that's fantastic in the sense that, I mean, I know for me, I like have to like scrape tooth and claw to get ladies to tap into this show, which
Yeah.
I guess I just don't fit the bill for somebody that the ladies just want to tune in and get real cozy with their mugs and just curl up and the thing that
Yeah,
ladies
yeah.
do, you know, like I'm just not that guy, but somebody like yourself who is obviously feminine and is able to connect with them on that level, um, and can share just the realities of what it's like to be a lady, to be in the shooting world, what it's like to carry as a girl, because it's a little different, just a little
Yeah.
bit, you know like unless you're carrying strong side and open carrying, it's different, like.
Yeah, we don't really have the same concerns. Like, well, we have different nuances and concerns than men do who carry. For example, I get a lot of guys who are like, "Why do you carry on your stomach like that? Why not just put it on your hip like a normal person?" Because my hips protrude. I'm a woman. I'm hippie. I'm not just like a rectangle straight up and down. So if I carry on my hip, it's gonna print. Like it's gonna print a lot more than if I carried appendix. So
Right.
why does it matter? Like why are you so worried about the way that I carry? Isn't the goal just to find a way that works for you, that's safe and consistent, and have it with you, not at home on the dresser or in your purse? So yeah, I think it's just that's probably one of the main things that women are drawn to other women because they can relate to them more, and the advice that those female instructors are giving, they can apply it to their life easier than like a man saying, "Oh, like, well, I carry like this because I wear jeans and a belt every day," and women don't, so they need other options for how to carry.
Yeah, I'm curious for those who are watching live and maybe those who tune in after the fact. How do you carry it? Do you carry appendix like myself? Do you carry strong side 3 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock like an idiot, or like what are you doing? And I say that
Like a
because
kid.
I say 6 o'clock is like the dumbest thing you can do, because if you fall just right, you can damage your spine. Guns aren't soft, squishy things, and we don't want to damage our spine just for the sake of carrying a gun and trying to be a little bit safer. Like, let's be safe while being dangerous. You know what I mean? So,
I'm definitely not a fan of carrying smaller bags just because I'm kind of paranoid about not being able to see my gun. Like I
hmm
can't look down, like, okay, yeah, my gun is right here. So that just makes me nervous. Other people can have eyes on my gun and I don't know it. So that's one reason why I don't carry smaller bags.
yeah, it looks like some of the people in the chat are saying that they carry appendix.
Yeah.
Um, what is the most frustrating part of training somebody? When I take friends or family to the range, they can't keep their finger off the trigger. LOL. I mean, that's pretty frustrating for myself, and
Uh,
I don't just train people just to train.
yeah, so I think that the most frustrating part of training people would probably be that, not just that, but that all the bad habits that people have already created, and not because they had like bad firearms training, but because of society and the media, and they've just gotten comfortable doing the things that they see on television. So it's kind of hard to get people to unlearn that. Also, it's a little bit, which is also why it's easier to train brand new shooters who have like no knowledge of anything. They haven't learned anything the wrong way, so you don't have anything to unteach them or like
Yeah.
reteach them or anything like that, if that makes sense. So it's always easier teaching new shooters. But those people who are like, oh, I've been around guns my whole life, I know what I'm doing, and they have the worst, most unsafe habits, they are probably like the most frustrating to teach. So the trigger discipline thing, and also proper grip, which Tig actually just made a video about this and posted it on her page, but she was explaining how people are so frustrated by proper grip because it doesn't feel natural. Like we don't grab anything with our thumb on the same side as the rest of our fingers. So that's why people tend to cross their thumbs around the back. You know, like this right here. We don't hold
Hmm.
things like this.
Yeah.
Like we hold them like this. So when
Hmm.
people pick up a gun, they always cross their thumbs around the back. And she
Yeah.
explained it really well on her video. So people usually have that issue also.
Yeah. You know what? I've never thought about that. I got to go back and kind of check out Tig's video to see, I guess how she explained it, because maybe that'll give me something for when I go to the range and, you know,
Yeah.
end up showing somebody how to shoot for the first time. That
It
happens.
was probably the most thorough explanation of proper grip that I've ever heard. Like it was a
Yeah.
really good video. You should check it out.
Yeah. I mean, that's that's huge. For me, I'm just trying to think like what's the biggest thing. I guess it is the finger on the trigger, because everything else you can kind of teach around, but if somebody slaps their finger on the trigger and they continue to do that, like you're kind of putting
That's
yourself in a
the
bad
most nerve
spot.
wracking thing because,
Yeah,
yeah, it's way easier to have an accident that way. So, yeah, I feel
right.
that.
And so I mean everything else minus like muzzling, which before if it's a family member, before taking somebody to the range, I try to have like a classroom session with them, like I know that you generally will do for yourself. Um, and this is like we're just at the house, and I'll be like, all right, this is a Glock, this is how you hold it. Like,
Yeah.
watch this finger, because you're gonna stress me out. You
So
know.
I got cert pistols, and I always use those with my students first. I don't care what their experience level is. If they tell me they're prior military or they're law enforcement and they've done this before, I don't care. Like I need to gauge their skill set, their skill level for myself. So I always put a cert pistol in their hands first, so I'll know what's going on before I hand them a live gun. So
Yeah.
that's one way that I try to like mitigate that, and also I mean, I wouldn't say no offense, but I think guys understand this concept well because I've had people explain it. I've had other men explain it to me also that sometimes guys are a lot more frustrating to teach because of that ego component. And also, learning from a female, they tend to feel like she doesn't have anything that she can teach me. I'm a guy. I know this stuff. I don't need any advice about anything. So men are a lot more frustrating to
Hmm.
educate on firearms. But you can still get through to them. You just got to break down their little, hey, like, I'm not trying to run you or tell you what to do. You paid for a lesson. Listen to my advice. Just try it one time. I promise you it'll work out. And then they get it.
You said you paid for my advice. Just listen. And that's actually something that's really been interesting, because I've gone through some extensive training that took a lot of my life. Like it was a long training. This was a course like over weeks. And in it, when we would do range days, they would say like, "Hey, listen, I know there's a way that you maybe know. There's a way that we're gonna teach. We're teaching a way. It might not be the way that you end up doing it. If you find a better way that works for you, that's safe and responsible, but we're gonna teach you a way. And for the class, we ask that you do the way that we're teaching."
Yeah.
And generally, that gets people, kind of lowers that masculine urge to just be like, "Nah, I know best." And then that's how I talk in my head. And
Yeah.
yeah.
What was your
So
class at?
was that?
Where did you train at?
It was here in the city. It was with so my church, they did a safety team, and so they paid for us all of us on the safety team to go through a very specific training. And maybe I'll talk about that more in the future. But it was
Okay,
real comprehensive, like 80 hours, 5 weeks.
that's good though.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm like way more competent because of it. And I'm thankful. Like I didn't have to pay for it. So that's dope. But
Mm.
yeah.
I'm
So
definitely looking forward to taking a lot more classes this year, throughout the remainder of the year with other instructors because I've been so busy teaching my own that I haven't had the chance. Like, I'm trying. I
yeah.
think the last class that I took with another instructor was in September last year. It's been way
Dang.
too long,
Yeah, that is a long time for an instructor, but
very
you
long.
kind of you've been through a lot of stuff, and I know you were supposed to come down for the phase 2 training, right? There was
Yeah.
just quick shout out to Devin Smiley from Parallel Defense and phase 2 and all those guys. Um,
Mhm.
that was, from what I heard, a really great training for instructors, and based on what I've seen, I can recommend it. Obviously, I've not been through it yet, but based on what
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen.
that was in July
Yeah, that
last
was
year.
July last year. For some
Yeah.
reason, you didn't
I
make it
felt
down. I don't need a reason.
like I wanted to come, but I had a lot going on, which I'll tell you about at a later time. But yeah, I really wish I could have gone. I'm gonna try to make the next one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to make the next one if it's in Houston. I have a hard time traveling out of state for trainings just because I
Hmm.
got 2 little kids. My wife's in school. Like, I can't just get up and go places for
Right.
more than a day or two without
Yeah.
you know, and then money. Like, I'm not rich. I got
It's
to
a
pay for
lot to
all
do.
this.
Yeah, it is.
Some of these classes are expensive. About how much do you charge for your classes? And do you feel like it's market rate or more or less?
Yeah, I would think so, especially for the area that I'm in. I mean, I'm in Arkansas, and firearms training is really plentiful here. I mean, you can, of course, people vet their instructors, and like you want to find a quality instructor, but even the people that I've trained with here, the good instructors, I charge like about the same. So like $150 for like basic pistol classes and stuff like that. Like it's really not expensive. But I also do that on purpose because I don't want it to be so pricey to the point where people can't afford it and now people don't have this training. So I'm just
Right.
staying in line with the market rate. Yeah.
So have you ever been tempted to charge less than maybe you should, or do you
Mm-mm.
understand the value of what you're doing and don't undercharge because
I
you shouldn't?
absolutely understand the yeah value of what I'm doing. I don't go below the market rate like ever. Sometimes I will do free training just because like a free community thing where because I don't if it's something like that, I'm not paying for anything anyway. It'll be sponsored by like Gun Owners of America or sponsored by NAGA. So I'm not looking to make any money. I'm just giving free firearm safety information. So I do that from time to time. I'm actually planning one for May this year. So no, when it comes to like my regular classes, I don't really go beneath that.
Yeah, guys. I see y'all in the chat chatting it up. If you have more questions for Daz, fire it in. We can definitely take a few more. What's another counterintuitive training tip that you've seen people really benefit from? I don't know if you have an answer for that. I don't. But is there anything that
Um,
you teach us maybe counterintuitive that people can really take?
yeah, so I would say the way that you position your arms when you're actually shooting, it sometimes feels unnatural to people. Like people either want to keep their gun like right here so they can see up close, or they want to push it like all the way out, like their arms
So,
are completely
whoop.
straight. Yeah, and it's like because it feels more comfortable. You're either going to keep it close where you can see, or you're going to push it as far away from your face as possible because you don't want to get hit with that recoil. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive to keep it a bit closer and keep your elbows kind of. I don't know if y'all can see it, but like locked out a little bit. It doesn't feel natural to people, but it helps you like manage the recoil a lot better. So I would say that that's one that I can think of off the top of my head.
Fair enough. Yeah. So that is that's really interesting because I'm planning an event, and I've mentioned this before. On April 8th, I'm supposed to be collaborating with the local range to put out a training event for people in the city who want to come
Mm-hmm.
get training for like pretty inexpensive and get a chance to try guns and ammo and all this stuff. And we're doing
Oh
some
yeah,
giveaway. Hornady sent some lock boxes and ammo that we can just give away to people, which is crazy. I love giving away people's stuff. Like,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
buy it, so here, have it.
Right.
It's great. But for the promotional stuff that we did, I had to get with one of the ladies who worked in the upstairs portion of the establishment, and she's in the military, but and said like, yeah, I've shot before, and then I handed her a Glock, and it was clear that she really hasn't
I
shot.
get that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so what was your MOS? And she was like, oh, supply. I'm like, okay, never mind. You're not a door kicker. Like, how much you don't spend time behind a rifle, much less a handgun. Like, you
Yeah.
qualify, and that's it. I'm not trying to dog anybody who's in the military who, who's serving the
Yeah.
country and doing a great job at it. But the reality is, a lot of people who feel like they, because they've been in the military, they don't really have a great foundation when it comes to
Mm.
shooting civilian handguns. Handguns in general.
Right.
What's your experience been like when shooting with former military people, people who are reservists, or do you get many?
I get a lot, yeah, and that's always. I don't want to say always, but nearly 100% of the time, that's my experience. The same thing. They say that they're super comfortable with firearms. What they mean is they're super comfortable with like M4s and M16s and not handguns whatsoever. Like usually they don't
Right.
do a good job like shooting the handguns. So I just teach them the way that I teach everybody else. Start from the basics. Like I know you're familiar with firearm safety. They can always recite the firearm safety rules back to me because it's the same whether you're using a handgun, a rifle, a shotgun, whatever the case may be. But it's just shooting a handgun, I think, is a lot harder than shooting a rifle because for one, you have nothing to help like stabilize the firearm like you do with the rifle. You just have to rely on your hand strength, your arm strength. That's it, and keeping the handgun as motionless as possible. That's all you have. Sorry,
There you
y'all.
go.
My
No.
dog over here going crazy.
What's her name again?
Donna.
LaDonna. That's right. Where can people go to follow your dog? I know your dog's got her own page.
It's
Where can people
LaDonna
go?
Mama.
LaDonna Mama at LaDonna Mama on what,
Yep,
Instagram?
LaDonna Mama on Instagram.
There you go. And
I just made y'all laugh at me.
where can people go to, I guess, follow you just in case they aren't already following you?
So my Instagram, my Twitter, and Facebook are all the same. It's at Ninadelaflores.
There you go.
Ninadelaflores. Yeah.
Yeah. Really it is that most military or law enforcement, the bare minimum is to pass the qualifications, and that's it. The end. Yes, Obsidian Training Group. If you guys aren't already subscribed to or following Obsidian Training Group on Instagram or shopping with them, I don't know why you're not shopping with them. ObsidianTrainingGroup.com. Code Armed Atlas gets you free shipping, which is basically like Amazon type stuff. Like to be able to buy gear, support a small black-owned business who actually cares about your Second Amendment rights. A lot of people shop with Amazon, and they shouldn't, because Amazon doesn't like guns. Like they don't
Yeah.
like that you like guns. So shop with somebody who likes that you like guns, who supports your rights, and if shopping with a small black-owned business is exciting for you, it's exciting for me. Do that. ObsidianTrainingGroup.com. Code Armed
Obsidian.
Atlas.
I need to go on his website and I need to order some more SIRT pistols. But I saw the red ones on there. I want different color ones. Can you get different color ones?
I don't
Let
know. I
me see.
feel like it's just red. Randy, can you get more than, I guess she already asked, but can you get multiple colors of SIRT pistols? I thought it was just red, but is there blue?
They
I don't
have,
know.
I know on the NLT website, they have like pink and green. So I wanted both of
Really?
those colors. So I have red and purple and then pink and green. Then I was going to get two of each. So I'll have like, it'll be easy to keep up with in classes if they're color coded and not like every single SIRT pistol is red.
Right.
Like I know
That's
I got
right.
two of these. So where are my guns type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we'll wait for him to answer. If not, you can just hit him up afterwards. He's super
Absolutely.
available. You guys should definitely connect because I know you guys are on a similar mission. And looks like they have green too. That's exciting.
Cool. I need green.
There you
I need a
go.
green.
That's sick. We got some more questions coming in. Have you thought of, I don't know why I laughed at this. Have you thought about giving anger management classes or de escalation courses and such?
So yes, but I'm not like I don't claim to be an expert at like helping people control their anger. So I don't think that it would be something that I would teach unless I got the training myself and I felt comfortable enough to do so. I know like in our concealed carry classes we do talk about situational awareness and not being temperamental and learning how to de-escalate a situation and all of that, but not like a whole entire course built around anger management and de-escalation. I don't offer that in the future, maybe, but I would probably have somebody come in who is an expert at that. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert and teach something I don't have a good understanding of. But yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a good idea and a good option to add on.
Yeah, I know some instructors, they have connections with different people like in the mental health space, and they'll bring people in to kind of help with the different stuff, especially people who have been through some sort of firearms trauma, which
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
everybody, but more people than maybe we're comfortable with acknowledging have been through some sort
Mm-hmm.
of traumatic event with a firearm, and they're out of class, but they need help. So
Mm-hmm.
having that resource is really cool. But obviously that's more scheduling, more planning, more,
Yeah.
collaborating, and sometimes adding more to the plate can be
It's
hard.
definitely important if you're going to be a gun owner. So yeah, it's something to think about for sure.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. So let's talk about your interactions with dudes in the gun space. And I'm not here to bag on any guys. I think dudes are amazing. The world needs more men. We need you. Be a man. And Dridzomai means be a man. It's a different language. I can't remember what it is. But let's talk about dudes in the gun space,
Yeah.
or dudes interacting with you, realizing or not realizing that you're in the gun space. I saw something today where a lot of guys were getting either really excited that they're like, oh, wow, this girl, she's in the gun space and she's kind of showing that she's armed and dangerous and, whatever that means. But there's also other guys who are like, don't blow your private parts off, and I can't believe that you're showing that you have a gun, and just like the criticism is like,
Yeah.
I
I
I get tired.
I really don't take it to heart. Like I don't like the fact that they're spreading a whole bunch of misinformation and like scaring women into not trying what I'm doing at all. So like I'll address it, but it really doesn't bother me like that because I know it's honestly just a bunch of non gunners having an opinion about something they don't understand. So I really
Yeah,
just blow it off my shoulder like, okay, whatever you say. I'm not a gun bunny. I'm not posing online with guns to be sexy or anything like that. I'm an instructor. I'm an educator. I'm a 2A advocate. Like, this is what I'm going to be loud about. People have a lot of different things that they're loud about on the internet. Um, Gun rights, which is what I happen to be, LGBTQ rights, like women's rights, abortion rights. People have the ability to be loud about whatever they want to be loud about on the internet, but they have a problem with me being loud about wanting to defend myself. Like
right.
that's so crazy.
That
Yeah, I'm like, no,
that is
whatever.
super interesting. It's like certain topics in culture, and it's not just American culture; it's worldwide. Because you will get haters from overseas, and I'm just like, bro, stay out of it. You
Yeah,
have your problems. Where are you from? Let me see the little flag in your bio. Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, let's just do a quick Google search, and we see all the problems with your country. Leave me alone about the little issues that we have that we are working
right.
on. Okay, like me getting sensitive over here, but the reality is, you're right. There are a lot of people who have an issue who aren't even into firearms, who are willing
Yeah,
to kind of tell you about what you're doing. Now, let's talk about the guys who are into firearms, because I know you've had some interactions, or you've observed some things that maybe it's not kosher. Like, let's not do that. Um,
yeah,
what are some of those experiences? You don't have to name names. Like, I hope you don't. But
yeah. No, I wouldn't do that.
yeah, like not here. Like, we didn't talk about that. Like, come on.
Mm-mm, no, for the most part, when it comes to guys who are actually into firearms, I don't really have negative interactions with them like that. Sometimes they say, I will see people say off the wall things, and I'm just kind of side eyeing them, like why would you even say that? Like it'll be a post of a woman educating. That's all she's doing is educating, and they're focusing on, oh, I can see her cleavage, or like she got a big old booty, and I'm like, that's not even the point of the post. Like even if you thought that, why did you have to comment and like
Yeah.
take attention away from her actually educating? I don't understand that. But I mean, for the most part, I don't get them saying stupid stuff to me like you need to stop what you're doing or anything like that. So
Right.
it's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a big deal, and I think sometimes people feel like because they're not in person, they're on the internet that they are saying something directly to you. But like, we can all see what you just said. Like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like,
Because
you're
would you
not
walk
alone
up to me on
here,
the range and say that? Like, no. Like,
right?
yeah, you can shoot, but like, I see the top of your titty. Like, okay, you wouldn't say that to me in person. Like, why are you saying it to me online? It's so weird.
Yeah, that's just completely off the wall. And I know none of the guys who tune in and listen to me, none people who tune into this show, they're not like that. But it's just crazy that that does happen. Do you ever get people? And this has been an issue, or at least last year and year before, where you do something is mostly right, but maybe like one little thing that could be different. It's not wrong, but
Yeah.
it could be different. And people are really quick to be like, "Sis, you need to do this," or you know, I'm not a big or don't ever correct anybody that you see in public. Like um, that's not an issue. But
Mhm.
do you ever get people in your DMs being like, "Hey, listen, I just want to let you know that you should have did this differently." Do you ever get that, or are you just perfect?
I've had no, I definitely won't say I'm perfect, but I've had it happen a couple times, but it's never in like a disrespectful manner, like, oh, you're really stupid and like you should know this by now or anything like that. It's always something minor where it's just somebody who's been shooting longer than me giving me a pro tip. That's it. And they always come to me directly about it. So I don't really take offense to that at all. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna implement that next time. Like that's good to know. I think it's just a matter of how they approach the situation versus just like coming on your page trying to like embarrass you or publicly criticizing you and not really saying anything constructive, just saying this is dumb. Okay, but what would you do instead? Like, can you let me know that at least? And I
Right.
don't really run into that a lot. So yeah, they're usually respectful about it.
Definitely. I think that's the big thing is can you be respectful about your interactions? I mean, I've had guys hit me up and be like, "Hey, bro, I saw you did this post with this. If you just minor adjustment, I think you'd be straight."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
And
can't
I
take
really appreciate
I can't
it.
take that any
I,
type of way.
I do appreciate it. Like, I'm gonna name names because it's not a like negative thing. Like they've given me really good advice. But Wilson Brothers Armory, um, the Dunn Firearms, Barber Training Solutions, and Yes Mike said it. They usually come directly in my DM and like, hey, you should try this or next time do this, and it's always respectful. So I appreciate them for that.
You know, that's really interesting that you said yes, Mike said it because um, I've always kind of anytime I've seen him on the internet, it's always kind of been a weird situation. Like
Yeah,
either he's saying something super controversial or maybe
you
he's
can
being
definitely be a bit of a
hypercritical.
country, but yeah,
Yeah, or he's being maybe hypercritical of somebody. I know he's been hypercritical of other ladies in the space, at least one that I know of. And with one of the comments that he said, I was just like, I'm just gonna kind of dismiss him as a whole. But according to you, he's actually said something positive, encouraging, correcting
yeah,
in a way that was respectful.
hmm yeah. Like
So I
I'm
guess you
like,
shouldn't just throw people in the
oh, okay,
trash. You should
that
give
was
them another
sweet.
chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember what he said?
No, not exactly, but I can go back and find the message so I can show proof.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it
you
was
tell me
really nice.
later.
I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, I'll try that next time. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think that's good, and I think based on what you're saying, I should give people second chances a little bit more. Like you know, if they seem like they're growing,
Not
maybe
third
give them a
chances
chance.
though, but second
Third
chances.
chances are third chances are reserved for family. You know, like the wife. You know,
Yeah, that's
but
about it.
yeah, that's about it. So. I guess. Do you guys have any more questions? I mean, if not, we're gonna have to start wrapping it up soon because you know Des has a life outside of talking to us. But
It's been cool.
yeah, but was there anything else that you really wanted to share? I know you're really, you know, big and into um, creating educational things for women and really trying to empower them. I know you said you're going to Essence Fest and that's cool. Are you working on anything else that we just got to know about?
No, I think I've told y'all everything so far that I'm working on, but I'll keep y'all posted if anything else comes up.
There you go. Well, guys, it looks like we're kind of coming to the end of our time. But Des, we're super
Hmm.
thankful. Once again, how can people find you if they're, you know,
On Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook, it's all the same handle at Ninadelaflores.
at Ninadelaflores? So, guys, make sure if you're watching this now or after the fact, you're following Nina and you're sharing her because I think you're a great resource, especially for the ladies. Obviously,
Yeah.
dudes can share stuff with ladies that kind of makes sense, especially in the gun space. But at the
Oh
end of
yeah.
the day, it's a little hard. Let's take one more question, then we'll just hard out.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine.
what are your hobbies outside of firearms?
What are my hobbies outside of firearms? I'm really a regular person outside of firearms.
Did
I
you say
think,
degular?
yeah, regular.
Oh
Like
man.
I read a lot. I read a lot of books. I'm really into my dog. I spend a lot of time with her and like with my family. Super family oriented person, but I just I'm chilling. Like there's no other thing that I invest a whole lot of time and energy to that like I would make a career out of like I do with firearms. But I
Yeah,
do have hobbies outside of firearms like reading, hanging with my family, like watching my favorite shows and little stuff like that. Just regular.
yeah, and I think that's interesting as a kind of a social media influencer, somebody who's
Hmm.
actually kind of started to make it in the space. People
Yeah,
should realize that you're still a regular human being behind all the posts, and
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So there you go. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. Guys, if you're not already following Des at Nina De La Flores on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you need to be. I don't know why you're not. Thank you so much for coming back on and doing the Q&A after the fact. I know that's not normal, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. That you
Thank
have a
you.
great rest of your night. Guys, thank you so much. See you
Thank
next time.
y'all.